So kicking things off, this is our third meeting. I really wanted to start things off today by giving you an update on which universities and colleges are competing. I live in this data on a day-to-day basis, and it's exciting for me to share it with you to help you better understand who the competitors are, but also to inform you that you're part of this growing network of innovators taking part in this pretty cool, unique shared experience. So I forgot to introduce myself again before kicking into things, but I'm Kelly Scott, coordinating the Farm Robotics Challenge for UC Ag and Natural Resources. At one point in time, you guys have probably communicated with me through email or a phone call. So that's who I am. But going back to building community, which is one of our goals with this competition, through competition, because I think it brings out our best work, but also in support of one another as we move to tackle some real monumental challenges and opportunities in terms of shaping the future of our food system. So starting off, I just want to commend you for joining in, being a part of this movement. I'm excited to see the results of your projects when they come in a few months, but more importantly, how you can take those experiences and leverage the experience to build your career and to make a real difference in your communities. So just want to start things off by saying thank you for being part of this and what you're doing. Moving into where we're at in terms of participation, a few weeks ago, we had our first deadline in terms of a real deliverable to the competition, more than just submitting the participation form in the terms of your project proposals that were due February 6th. And naturally, I was expecting some attrition based on the fact that this is really kind of when the rubber meets the road in terms of real work being turned in. And honestly, we did have some teams exit the competition. But what I didn't account for is we had a few more teams kind of jump in at the last minute. So while we did lose several participating teams from the beginning participation call, we made up for it in folks that jumped in late. So the total number of competing teams has stayed nearly the same, which I think is great for the competition. And the map here doesn't give you a whole lot of detail, but I just wanted to show it to help you understand kind of roughly what parts of the world are represented. So diving a little bit deeper into the blob that was the US and where we're coming from, just to show you that we have teams essentially from coast to coast, all the way on the left-hand side from the Hawaiian Islands, across the West Coast, Midwest, and several teams on the East Coast. So future years, we hope to fill a few more dots in this map, but really pleased with the participation so far. And here's the full list of participating universities and colleges that have essentially at this point kind of hung in the race and are still here. You all did a great job on your project proposals. There were no heavy edits, only a few minor things here and there that we recognized. And most of it really had to do with team composition and rosters really not being complete or maybe not flipping to the other tab on the spreadsheet. So no big deal there. There are still a few teams that I need to follow up with on those issues. So don't be surprised if you hear from me over the next week or so, just on some small kind of administrative issues. And the full cohort, we're excited, is real representative, essentially nearly the entire higher education system. We have a mix of research universities, state schools, private schools, and also two-year community colleges. So we're definitely excited about the representation. And just so you guys know, this whole presentation is going to be posted up on the website where you can kind of look at the notes and some of the information in a little bit more detail. So going into which teams kind of chose what category and what they're doing, I pulled this information really just succinctly to give you an idea of what's out there. In the air category, we have 14 teams with another couple teams working on editing their proposals. So probably this will end up around, I guess, 16 essentially in the final tally. So kind of a cool range of projects, from plant health monitoring for early kind of stress detection, soil moisture testing and analysis, to different scouting missions to identify and report where maybe manual labor should be sent on larger farms. There's a see and spray, precision applications, different pest identification and deterrence interventions. And then I think the last 4 projects there are also more of a UAV drone slash UGV land robot integration. So using both technologies really to complete kind of the whole system of automation, which is really cool. So moving on to the land category, right now there's 24 different teams that are competing. I'm excited to see that the Amiga robot kind of put into all kinds of different use case scenarios. Here we have, the precision weeding via laser, hot water, also physical extraction of weeds. You have scouting and yield reporting on a host of different soil condition and crops, including coastal farms, smaller CSA, organic farms, different crops like, what do we have? Artichokes, cranberries, grapes, and then also planting soybeans, laying down drip lines, moving seed bags, cover crop tilling, orchard management for nut crops, and then even planting forest. Moving on, there's other robots that are doing harvesting for different crops like strawberries and onions. There's a mobile charging station for drones, different software via mobile control apps that are being developed. So there's just a lot here. It's really cool that Farm G has said that the Amiga is the Swiss Army knife for the farm. And kind of based on this list, you can see why there's just so many different use cases, crops, scenarios, and situations that this little robot can be put to use in to help automate all these different functions. So kudos to everyone for kind of doing their own unique project. And it's really exciting to see kind of the layout of the whole competitive landscape, what people are working on. So yeah, that was really just an overview of who's competing, what are we doing. We're going to dive a little deeper into each team project and post that up on our website via a summary document. So that's at the designer right now, but probably sometime in the next couple of weeks that'll be up, and that'll have a little bit more information on each project, and not just the headline that you saw there. So next up, looking at kind of the end of the competition and what we're looking for in terms of your project submission. So this is kind of the real bulk of the meeting today, and what we wanted to go through to make sure, as you're working on your projects over the next couple of months, you kind of have this in the back of your mind, how you want to pull this together, because I don't think this is something that can be just thrown together at the last minute and be a successful project. I think working on it a little bit at a time throughout the competition is going to be the best way to go. So what are we looking for? There's the due date, April 24th. It hasn't changed. It's been the same since we announced the competition for 2025. So that's at the end of the day. So last year when we had our deadline, I think 8 of the 9 projects came in 11 o'clock or later. So I expect it kind of to run the full term on terms of you guys taking your time with the projects and getting it in at the last second. But just be careful. We're saying we can't accept late projects or deadlines on this. And it really has to do with all the work that we need to do leading up to the award ceremony. There's a lot of video editing. We need to pull your projects together. We need to get those over to the judges. We need to give them a a decent amount of time to be able to read through the projects and rate and rank them. So kind of having this, what is it, 10-day, 2-week buffer, we're going to be real busy moving things around and pulling it together. So we just can't kick out that deadline farther. So please kind of make that your mark in the sand and really get the projects in by that time. And in terms of getting it to us, I'm going to write an individual email to each team advisor, give them a link, and then you can just plop the different documents in that Google Drive folder for us. So there's 2 things we're looking for. The final project is a written report and your video. I want to start here with the video and just go through that really quickly. But it's titled 5-minute video because that's what we're looking for. If you can give your project a good highlight in less time, you're welcome to do that. But we think 5 minutes is kind of the sweet spot in terms of being able to deliver a good summary of your project that's easily consumable. So please do not submit more than a 5-minute video. 12-minute video is not going to cut it. So your project will be dinged if you go over that for really not following the instructions that we're setting out here. So essentially, the following bullet points offer you an outline that you can use to organize your footage pretty, it starts at the beginning. So what problem are you trying to solve? And you could just narrate this portion, or you could give potentially an interview with your ag partner and kind of get them to frame it for you. And then next, introduce your design. What are the particulars of the system that you're building and using? If you're doing some kind of modification or custom build, what exactly is that? How is it integrating with your Amiga robot or your drone that you're using? And then specify, is this hardware or software system? And then, what key functions does your design perform and accomplish? And then, please, please, please show your design in action, performing the functions that you designed it to do. Really key. We want to see what is actually working and how it's tackling those tasks. Next, make sure you explain the metrics that you chose to evaluate your design and provide us the highlights of those findings. You can go into a little more detail with tables and figures on your written report, but give us the highlight reel of how your evaluation went. And then don't forget to add in a quick feature also on safety and what kind of system you're using there. And I would say, if you haven't already done so, a good place to start is by reviewing what's already been done. So post it up on our website. We have the previous year's projects. If you go to the results tab, you'll see the different years, 23, 24, 25. Just click on the previous years and then look through the different videos. So on this slide, I featured the top prize winner from Olin College last year. Check out what they did. How did they frame things? What can you do that's similar that would make sense for your project? And then as you get to the end of your video, might be nice to hear some feedback from your ag partner on how your design performed. If they think this could be a viable tool or solution that they could integrate into using on their farm and in the real world. And kind of just summarize it together succinctly at the end. Talk about some of the impacts, whether it's economical, environmental, or social impacts. And then again, over there on the right-hand side, we have the team project highlight reels. That's all the projects from last year that you can take 10, 12 minutes to watch and kind of pick some things that you think work or don't work. Just do a little research on how to put this together is going to go a long way in terms of doing your presentation at the end. And just a couple of things that I would steer you away from doing, so don't do this. In the beginning of your video, you can introduce your team, the university that you're with, but I would say don't go through and introduce all your team members. That's just going to eat up kind of valuable real estate in your video, and it's going to take away from the time that you're summarizing your project. So steer clear of that. And we say we're not necessarily judging on video quality per se, but it is important to have a well-organized and thought out presentation. It makes a much stronger impression than a video that was kind of uncut and appears amateur. We don't think this is a stumbling block. We all have access to software that can compile an acceptable video and do some cuts and add in frames and pictures for more information, titles on things. So we're not saying that you need to hire a communications crew to do this, but take some time to put together your video because it makes a big impression. So just a couple more things, technical specifications that we're looking at. Please shoot your video in landscape view. I know we all have phones and we're kind of used to shooting things vertically, but it doesn't translate well with the way that we're using the footage. So make sure if you're doing it with a phone, turn your phone sideways to get in landscape. And then please provide us with a video, a minimum of HD resolution. So that's 1920 by 1080. And I would say, my preference, how I like doing it, is film it in 4K at the higher resolution. And if you need to crop the image, that gives you the room to do that. So just a few tips there. And then we're going to follow up with kind of like a set title opening screen that will provide you the template, and then you could just plug that in. So there's specific information that we're looking for, so we have some uniformity throughout the competition in terms of the videos, because eventually all these are going to go up on our website, and we want it to look good and promote you guys, represent your teams and your universities. This is going to get into my pet peeve. Please make sure the narration is clear and that the audio levels are optimized. And by that, I mean loud. Not clipping and sounding awful, but very loud and clear. And one of the ways that you can do this, I think, is by not including sound effects in your video or an audio backtrack. So I think this using sound effects makes a cool YouTube video. And actually, I would encourage you to maybe do a separate version where there's sound effects, but the one you submit to the competition, please leave that information out. And this goes back to how we're using it on our end, as we're compiling different reels and different clips, and we're taking bits and pieces from different videos that we're going to use in our awards ceremony. So we don't want to have to battle different soundtracks when we do our video production. So in the end, this is helping us kind of create a more polished product for the award ceremony and how we're going to post it on the websites. And then information there on the closing screen, what we're looking for. And again, we'll send you the template so that everybody kind of has the same information, and then make sure that that video is in a MP4 format, which is pretty standard. So I'm just going to pause there for a second. Kind of ran through a lot of information there. Again, this will be posted up. You'll be able to reference this, so there's no questions in terms of what we're looking for. But Lucy, is there anything that we need to address in terms of questions or comments on the video portion?
Not on the video portion. The only question is about the due date, which is the due time. I see it's a Thursday, so midnight Thursday Pacific time.
Yes. That works. Okay, let's keep chugging then. That's the video portion. Moving on to the written report, this is broken down in 5 different sections, and section number 1, you should pretty much have it done already. It mirrors the work that you've put together on your project proposals. Just one thing to note here, half, maybe more than half of the project proposals that came in didn't include the starred item on the screen there, which is a 1-sentence summary. So this was supposed to be part of your project proposals, but was just kind of skipped over by many teams. So just a reminder here, read our documents carefully, pay attention to each item that we're asking for. And the reason we ask you for this information is so that we can use it as the captions in your videos when we post them up, or that we put together the report. So it saves us some time, and also probably represents your project better if you do it yourself versus us kind of trying to figure it out for you. No harm, no foul at this point, but we do need it going forward at your final project. And then section 2, this really gets into, you give us the details on your design. Essentially, what did you build? Either hardware or software, to accomplish those tasks, to solve the problem that you're tackling. What are the various components that are used? Are they off the shelf? Are they custom designed? Kind of just give us the specs there. And then detail the operation of your design. What are the specific tasks that your design performs? I mean, this is huge. It's kind of the meat of what we're seeking to learn about from your project. And then based on these tasks, what can affect the performance? How does your design adapt to different conditions? What considerations should the end user keep in mind when operating your robot? Have you taken steps to simplify the operation of your design for a non-technical user, kind of for true automation? If you have, what does that look like? What process did you go through? And then explain any safety features that are built into your design, what protocols should be followed when operating your design. And then lastly, just tally up your expenses on equipment and materials that went into your design. And this is just the cost of goods. Don't worry about kind of labor or service fees or trying to estimate that if there was some fabrication. But if you built something, what are the costs and materials that went into building that? And then section 3, this covers the metrics and that you chose to evaluate your design. Again, what metrics did you choose and why? You've already outlined this in your project proposal, so now we just need you to kind of showcase your results. What data did you collect? What were the results? What's kind of the analysis of the data? And then summarize that for us. And then kind of the minimum is 3, but if you wish to include additional metrics beyond what you put in your project proposal, do so if it's strongly relevant to the project. Don't just run up a bunch of metrics because you think it'll make you look better. It really has to tie in to the success of the project. And in this section, this is your hero's journey. What's your team's narrative about your experience throughout the project? What motivated you to do it? What's the why that's pushing you forward? What did you learn along the way? Who did you need to consult with to get feedback and keep you on the right track? And then were you surprised by anything? Did you kind of scrap your original design and redo it midway because it wasn't working? All those things we kind of like to learn about. What was your experience going through this? And also, has this project opened doors to other opportunities? Did you create something novel that maybe it's worth filing a patent on? That has happened in the past. I think we're at 7 potential patents that have come out of the competition. So that's something of interest to note. Would you consider trying to start a company based on your experience? Or then, has it changed your perception on what you think or thought it meant to work in agriculture? we're not expecting you to answer all those questions, especially if they're not relevant, but these are just merely kind of prompts to get you thinking of what could be interesting to share with the judges in terms of your experience. And then last, but certainly not least, the final section here is impacts. Pulling it all together and wrapping a nice bow on things to close out your report. How did your solution perform? Was your ag partner happy? Do you have feedback from them that you could potentially share with us that could be really valuable? In terms of commercial potential viability, can you let us know who your target customer base is? Is your solution unique in the marketplace? If so, why? How is it positioned? How is it differentiated? If not, that's okay. Is there something about your project that could improve possibly what is currently be available and integrated into an existing solution? And then can you venture to potentially guesstimate what the market potential might be on your project? In closing, what are also the potential impacts for the workforce? Does this make a farm job less labor intensive, more safe, less time consuming? And then are there significant environmental impacts? If so, what are they? Can you quantify them? And then, what could this mean for the broader food system? So we also have a specific format here that we'd like you to follow. Again, kind of looking for uniformity and consistency. It helps with our judges, both in terms of readability, consumability, being able to compare projects kind of apples to apples if things are in a similar format. So follow this advice, add the markers, for the section headlines, section 1 through 5, keep it really organized with a table of contents, and you'll be in great shape. And the last thing is provide us a great photo of your team. So we're going to use the photo potentially in the press release for the winners. So this could be spread out, essentially internationally. So take a minute, stage a good photo, bring in, potentially your solution. You can see the photo here of Auburn University and their robot. If you're using a drone, bring the drone in. Maybe do some subtle branding of your university or team, but this could be a point of pride. So take a good photo, send us a high quality version. And who knows, it could be your cover shot, essentially. All right, I'm going to pause one more time, Lucy. So that was kind of the run through on the written report stuff. Any questions?
Not in the chat, but I would encourage everyone to speak up if they have any questions.
Okay, we'll keep moving along. We're actually on target here in terms of our agenda. So if you think of something, just throw it in the chat and we'll definitely address it. I could see my PowerPoint didn't format right. So on the industry section there, but quickly, just to mention this, the judging panel is going to be a mix of individuals with knowledge and skill sets in their respective industries. And we're going to lean on their expertise to help us evaluate the merits of each project. We're pulling from the academic worlds, from industry, from investment, financial services industry, to really give us good holistic feedback on the projects and kind of help us rank and then choose and present the awards. So another thing is we do share the comments with you from the judges so that you have feedback on your project. I think that's an important part, based on the fact that you've all put so much work and time and energy into this. We want to know kind of how you were reported on. So we will get that to you after we're able to get everything judged and awards chosen. So speaking of awards, now we get to dive into definitely my favorite part of the program, sharing with you the incentives, the opportunities that your project could open up for you. Just listing real quickly here as a reminder, the top prizes for both the land and air categories are $20,000 and $10,000 respectively. We've got the travel stipends to the FIRA conference for the winning teams. And that's an ag tech conference in California in October. And what we'd like to spend some time today highlighting is the opportunity that lands on that third button or marker down there in terms of opening the doors to additional programs that can help develop your projects, potentially something bigger. So I am thrilled to welcome a couple of folks from Plug and Play. And Plug and Play is a prominent venture capital firm and global innovation platform for a whole host of industries and verticals. And I think I see both of you. Yeah, so we have Lindsay Laban, Director of Animal Health and Ag Tech, and also Ann Gunden, Program Manager for Animal Health and Ag Tech today. So they're going to take over the presentation and tell you a little bit about what they do, and then also how the winners of the challenge can get dialed into the program, their program, and the opportunities that they have.
Try and get this.
So,
See
oh, looks like you're up.
all of my things, maybe. There we go. Can you see it? It always freaks me out when I lose all controls of my things. Perfect. I'm Lindsay Laban. I am the director. As you guys have known, so Plug and Play is really well known on the East Coast, not so much in the Midwest. We're building our name there. So that's where I'm based. I'm based in Kansas as well as Ann. That's where our ag tech home is, as well as Brazil. So at Plug and Play, our mission is to drive innovation by connecting entrepreneurs, corporations, investors, NGOs, universities, governments worldwide. So we kind of do this as a one-stop shop of innovation. So again, we kind of work throughout all of those entities to whether that be innovation advisory, kind of figuring out how to establish strategy with these corporations, executive networks, connecting all these networks together from the different, buckets that we kind of dip our toes into. Focused events. Events are a really big way of connecting, kind of bringing together the entire ecosystem. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. Industry trends. Things are always evolving and we don't live in silos anymore. I think we used to think it was always industry agnostic or industry specific, and now it's a little bit more industry agnostic. Just because you're an ag tech doesn't mean that it's a supply chain issue that won't affect you or a sustainability issue that you're trying to solve. So we see a lot of cross-industry collaboration kind of happening throughout this, and we kind of want to be that center, that nucleus of it all. So we do this in 3 different ways. I'll start on the right. At our heart, we are venture capital. So we invest in over 250 companies in a year alongside the world's best VCs. So we have over 30 unicorns. That's $1 billion valuation or above. Some really great names that you've kind of seen: Fiscal Note, Shippo, CloudWalk, a few names throughout. And again, that's over 20 different industries. We'll talk about that in 1 second. So you kind of see we have a diverse portfolio. Our bread and butter, though, really lies in the corporate innovation and the accelerator program. So with corporate innovation, we act as external innovation teams for 550 of the world's leading industry corporations. So, some of the names down there: Nike, Cargill, Meta. So you see, again, different industries, but we are essentially working to matchmake them with startups that are facing their challenge. And with a lot of these big companies, they really want to have the younger early stage companies so that they can help mold and fix the challenge that they're trying to solve together. So that's where our accelerator program comes in, and that's what Ann kind of helps run. So we run 60 plus industry specific innovation accelerator programs where it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months of intense programming to kind of take you to the next level. And hopes that then you're at a level where the corporations can really scale from there. So we really are really good at that pre-seed, even at an idea stage. So we work heavily with university systems, kind of getting their innovations out of the university system and into the real world. So we've got a whole university team that works. They pitch on Fridays out of specific universities. So if you are interested in that, please reach out to us too. We're happy to help connect any way that we can. Let's see, there we go. Our industries. So we've got 20 plus different industries. As you can see, we have each one of these has their own little ecosystem, their own mentors, their own corporations that are involved, their own startups, their own alumni, everyone kind of their own VC network, but they all fall under the plug and play umbrella. So that really helps us drive that collaboration between the different industries. So while it's animal health and ag tech, you've also play into the energy side. You can also play in the new materials and packaging side, the sustainability route. So we are able to kind of draw those parallels and not really work in those silos anymore, but still provide those ecosystems. Within those ecosystems, we have 62 locations around the world. So this acts as a launch pad or a landing pad, depending on how you look at it. So each one of those ecosystems lives in each one of those locations. So we obviously are headquartered out in Silicon Valley, tech capital of the world, but I think we opened 10 offices this year just in the United States alone. And then also have a very good global presence. So this helps us kind of be worldwide. We have over 162 ventures teammates sourcing year round in all of our different locations so that we're really able to bring the best and the brightest to the table. Again, this ecosystem, it's all about the ecosystems. We believe everyone needs a seat at the table in order to really make innovation happen. And we just try to connect them as much as we can. So you've got your mentors. Our list of mentors are ex-founders, people that are trying to give back, industry experts on scaling and other things that might be of interest to some of our smaller startups that are coming through the program for the first time. VCs, investors, universities, governments, again, we want to be that bridge. So if there is a startup coming from another country and they want to start in operations in the US, we've got government entities that can make that happen. We've got contacts at the USDA, things like that just hopefully help really ease the process for startups. And so we want to be that connector when it comes to that. Oops, some of mine didn't come through either. So some of our success stories that we're kind of talking through. Bon Pet Food, they were a part of our first batch. They are in partnership with Hill's Pet Nutrition. So that was really exciting. They were looking for sustainable ingredients. Size is another one. This one was really exciting for us. It just happened recently. They transitioned from just like they are a crate device that kind of attaches at a vet's office to monitor heart rate. And they, with the help of Kansas State University and research, they developed some new IP and transitioned to bovine respiratory disease monitoring instead. So an entirely new area of focus for them. And they were able to get a phase 1 SBIR funded grant. So some really exciting things kind of happening within that. We've also had a couple of startups move to the Kansas City area. So Sears Tag just announced that within the animal health side. And then on the ag tech side, we personally invested in Mapana, which is really exciting, a leaf tissue analysis startup company. So those were the two other ones that I'll send that to you guys when you have like the final slides and make sure that that goes through. Here's our ag tech portfolio. So we've been around since late 2019, early 2020. We have 19 portfolio companies. Some of the categories you'll see kind of match what we see in the ag tech with sensing and sustainability, digital solutions obviously being the majority of them. Again, that pre-seed to Series A is really where we focus on our investments. And then hard tech is always kind of a big portion of it. So kind of like we were talking about, the opportunity pitch at our summit. So we do what we call a summit, and that picture is super grainy and it was not on my computer when I uploaded these. So I'm sorry about that. So we do what we call a summit, is where we bring all 20 of our verticals together and have the startups that have gone through the 3 to 6 month accelerator program get a chance to pitch to an entire audience full of investors, mentors, and corporations interested in their technologies. It's a 4-minute pitch style, so really rapid pitch, but we would love to have the winner come out. We've got two opportunities. One is in Kansas, June 5th, and one is in Silicon Valley the next week, June 12th, I think is the date that we go, and 11th. I always get that one wrong. June 11th. So, yeah, excited to have the winner out. If there's any questions or if you guys want to learn more about Plug and Play, specifically our university programs, happy to answer any questions.
Well, as we're waiting for questions, I'll just say thank you, Lindsay and Anne, for joining the call. I will do my personal pitch for the summit. So I was able to go to the Silicon Valley one in November, and Lindsay's grainy photo of the audience does not do it justice. It was a really cool event. I mean, just the energy was palpable. You're in your headquarters building, which is huge. It's what, a couple 100,000 square feet?
Yep, it was a
Something like that.
semiconductor building beforehand. Yep.
Okay, so it's down the street from the Apple headquarters. And then how many startups are actually working in that building? It seemed like a lot.
Yeah, I think we have 100 plus startups at any given moment working in the building. And then a couple of corporations have like little satellite offices there. So they have the opportunity to have a satellite office in Silicon Valley as well as wherever they're headquartered around the world. So you've got a mix of that corporate side as well as the startup side. And the water cooler talk is always my favorite when we're there. You don't really get it in the event side, but when we get to go over there and just work, it's amazing what you hear at the water cooler.
Yeah, so I'm trying to paint a picture of why this is a really cool opportunity.
Yeah.
So awesome stage setup, lots of super high energy founders, top corporate leaders, people from academia and the research side, all in this really, all I can say is energizing environment, thinking about the future, trying to build awesome businesses that are going to go out and tackle some of our most pressing problems. So to be invited to this event is an entrepreneur's dream. So I just want to let the cohort know here, this is a really cool opportunity. And then, so you guys said that a winner from each category can go to either the Silicon Valley or the Kansas location and be part of this. So just in terms of, yeah, we're just thrilled. I think it's incredible. And I can't wait to tag along and be in the audience for that portion.
I
When it
explained it
happens.
as
So,
like a beehive because it's 3 floors and it's something's happening on every floor that you're on. And it's like a hive. Someone's always walking up the stairs and always down the stairs. And you see a lot of that energy in the building and you feel it. You've never felt dumber in a building because everyone's got these like great solutions and it might be AI and something you have no idea about, but I'm like, you're changing the world. This is amazing. And so as young entrepreneurs, like really getting to see that next level of entrepreneur too, and like soaking it up and learning is our goal in this opportunity and kind of giving this to you guys. So hopefully whoever wins will get to come out and kind of see what we're talking about.
well, thank you. Yeah, we're thrilled that we're partnering on this and can't wait to see how it turns out. So just to check back, Lucy, were there any questions while we still have Anne and Lindsay?
Not on the plug and play front. But I would again encourage everyone to just speak up and ask Lindsay and Anne your questions directly.
And to clarify a little bit, if you are the winner, one of the winners, I am the one you'll be dealing with the most because I'm the one putting the deck together and communicating about event details and stuff. So yeah, I'll be the plug and play name that you'll see the most often until you meet us in person, and the rest of the team will be there.
Great. Well, we'll get your deck from you, the polished version.
Yeah.
We'll include your, I don't know.
The first deck I've ever built. Like what? I don't know what that is. Like it doesn't, I swear I just presented that same deck 2 days ago and it was not like that. So don't do what I did. Make sure your deck is like polished and ready to go before you present.
It's all good. We'll make sure that your contact information is there too if people want to reach out. But yeah, again, thanks for joining.